Thank you, Mac. After news came down yesterday that IKEA is recalling millions and millions of dressers and chests, some maybe in your home, here we can't help but be reminded of other recalls. Seems like there's a new one every day. Cars, food, car seats. A quick search at kbtx.com, well, that'll show you plenty of recalls you should be aware of. It can be frightening. Suddenly you find out that a product you've been using or consuming every day might be unsafe for you and your family. So to give us a little insight on this, find out how much of a problem this really is, we're joined by Dave Felio from Dallas. He's the president and CEO of the Realtime Group, a product development company. Dave, thanks for being here with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hey, Dave, why are there so many recalls these days? Does it just seem that way, or are there really more?
Well, we're seeing more and more. But the main reason is kind of the obvious, that there's an ever-increasing exponential number of new products being introduced into the market. So even with the constant failure rate that you would always have traditionally, that means more exposure to recalls. But we're also seeing more and more complexity driven into the products that we help design. Software-driven products, more sophisticated mechanisms, different ways that things can either fail or create a hazard. So it's an ever-growing challenge you just have to keep up with.
Interesting. So I guess as these products, as we become more advanced and our products become more advanced and become more intricate, and there are more opportunities for things to go wrong. So are these products less safe than they used to be, or are we just getting better at detecting these defects?
It's more the latter. It's a combination of better and better methods for detecting defects with the regulators out there, the people that help drive safety into product design, like the UL labs or the CE marks or the FDA. They are always striving to increase the level of rigor and requirements that are driven into how you do the safety design and test of these products. It's just a better story, but the result is you're always seeing recalls and news of a problem with a product.
Interesting. Why can't more of these problems be flagged before the products go to market? It seems odd that we are dealing with this so much on the back end.
Well, so with the increased complexity, you would see a lot more, but our methods for detecting them are much better than you think. In fact, I mean, that's what the Realtime Group helps companies do with their designs is, you do this thing called a failure modes and effects analysis, which is a way of trying to examine all the different ways a product could fail. And the customers that we help, we see them they're better and better at mitigating those problems and bringing a safe product to market. But the complexity of some of these things are just so much greater, and the time to market is so much shorter that it's hard to catch everything.
Sure. Complexity seems to be one of these themes, a word you keep bringing up. Is there, and you see this in the business that you run, but is there some sort of, not a scare, but because there are so many recalls and these product developers see these recalls in the news all the time, do you think they're more focused on catching these things on the front end than they used to be?
Yes, that's why a company like Realtime, that's why we're growing so fast, is because the urgency, the importance of focusing on making these things safe is what we do. And there are companies like us and businesses like us who strive to drive better safety into products for that reason. But bigger picture, products are way more safe than they were years ago. They just also do more things.
Interesting. So I guess that is the takeaway for our families at home, trying to keep their loved ones safe is these products are more complex, and even though they're seeing more recalls on television, it's not necessarily a cause for concern.
I don't think so, but always look for those safety marks on the products you buy. Sometimes products, especially when they come from foreign countries, are imported that aren't necessarily, they don't have the safety marks on them. So if they don't, you ought to consider whether or not you want to expose your kids or your family to it.
All right. Interesting. Something we will absolutely look out for, and we appreciate that advice. Dave Felio from the Realtime Group out of Dallas. Appreciate you joining us. All right. Stick with us. We have a whole lot more First News at 4 coming up right after the break. Rusty finally gets to take a bite of that burger that we've been smelling all afternoon. Stick with us.
You're watching First News at 4 with Rusty Surratt, Kathleen Whitty, and weather with Mac Morris on KBTX News 3. The people you know, the news you trust.